the battles that we fight today, we save our future generations from fighting the same battle.
That's the reason why organizations have code of conduct, why they want to see certain people under their umbrella.
So I think those younger siblings, if they are also adults, they have to take that responsibility, feel that responsibility, and pitch in wherever they can.
Because the values are little different from the values of people that were born in Europe or US.
For example, that father at one point in time passes away, and the older sibling has this entire responsibility shifted to him or her.
The algorithm trading, robot trading is active and up and running now. Everything that is done is technical. AI cannot do one thing, make a decision.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Break Buzz. Today, I'm very excited because I'm going to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart. We have been discussing real estate, properties, way to invest, way not to invest. Today, I'm going to touch upon a subject which deals with our core values, the ethical and moral dilemmas and the paradoxes that we face on a day-to-day basis, and what are the ethical challenges in dealing with such issues, how to navigate that, and a lot of things that are food for thought that I am sure my viewers are going to enjoy. So today, we're again joined by a very close friend of mine, Mrs. Yana. Yana, welcome back. I do not need to introduce you again because I think the viewers already know you. How are you, Yana?
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for the invite. I'm doing very well, and I'm very excited about the topic that we're going to discuss today. So
a lot of times that you and I chatted about this subject, we came on a conclusion. Why are we doing this? So the reason why both of us are sitting here is that I believe, and I'm an ardent believer of this fact, that the battles that we fight today, we save our future generations from fighting the same battles. Let me dive down into a bit. All the time, we are faced with challenges. We are battling against poverty, social and ethical injustice. We are fighting for the education, equal rights. All these fights, I believe, if I don't fight them and you don't fight them today, the next generations would be propelled and compelled to fight those battles. Do you agree?
yeah, I totally agree with that, of course.
So, in order to start that, how do you feel on this subject? Opportunity. It's an opportunity for people to see two intelligent people, one from the finance and banking sector, one from the real estate sector, not only talking about real estate, but talking about the value and importance of having ethics in our lives. Moral, social ethics in our life. Do you believe we need to have ethics?
Of course, we need to have ethics.
And why is that important to you, Yana?
Because if you don't have ethics, then, you go sideways. I mean, there is a code of conduct inside of each person, right? There should be, ideally.
Every organization has a code of conduct.
Correct.
And that code of conduct within that organization, we have to follow to the letter. What about the code of conduct of our lives?
Code of conduct of our lives, it's an interesting topic. Some people have it, some people don't have it, actually. Right?
Would you be comfortable in talking, sitting across the table and working with people who do not have that code of conduct?
I wouldn't say I would be comfortable or uncomfortable. Everybody has the right to have their own values and morals, and no one should be judged. However, it's our choice whether we want to be around such people or no. So it's very important to surround yourself with like-minded people at work, in your social life. Family, unfortunately, we don't choose, right? Or fortunately. So
You do choose a part of your family that you're going to.
yeah, so you cannot choose whenever you came from, but you can choose what will come from you going forward, right? So that's the difference. So I think the code of conduct is very important for each person, or should be very important. That's the reason why organizations have code of conduct, why they want to see certain people under their umbrella, why they want to filter those people that do not fit that umbrella, right? So it's essential.
Okay. Moving on to another, on the same subject, let's talk about a ethical dilemma that we face. I'll give you an example. When you plan your trip or you go for a vacation, you plan everything. You plan which flight you're going to take, which seat you're going to have, which destination you're going to go to, which hotel you're going to go to, which sightseeing tours you're going to go to, right? Ideally, then things happen. But you pack your own bags. At least I do. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
you pack your bags. You pack everything in
that's
it.
That's the main rule that that's the main question Emirates or any other airline asks you. Please confirm you packed your bag yourself, right?
Yes.
So
The half of us actually have other people's to pack for us, but mere mortals like us, we pack our own bags, right? Okay. When you sit on a plane, the most important person on that plane is the pilot.
true.
We've planned everything in that trip, except we have zero knowledge about that pilot that's going to fly us to our destination, which is a very important aspect. This scenario, now see in your life, till what time can you plan and execute, and from what point onwards do you leave it to fate?
So it's a very good example. So how you choose which pilot will fly you? You go with certain airline, right?
You have no choice
So-
of the pilot.
Okay, you have no choice of the pilot. I agree with you, but at least you can figure out, okay, I will go with airline A or airline B, and some carriers are very reputable. Some of them are less considered to be less safe. Let's say this is the first thing what you do, right? And this is where code of conduct comes into the picture as well. So the companies, like, let's not put the names out there, but certain airlines, which are global airlines, including the airlines of Middle East, considered to be the A airlines, right? So you expect those companies have a very strict filter on code of conduct and ethics, and
Values.
while they are hiring people, right? So this is the first thing what you do. So the least you can do is to at least filter out things that are not in your control.
To a certain degree, and
Right.
then
So, but then it comes to the point where you don't know, anything can happen. So you just leave it to the fate. You're right. So you should do whatever you can do, which is under your control, which is the circle of influence, and you would know that from the book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah, where Stephen Covey, which is the book that I would recommend to any professional to read. This is an amazing tool. You can only, or you shall only, focus on things which are under your control. So all the rest you leave to circumstances, fate, almighty, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So,
but the due diligence that you need to do, that is your core responsibility, and nothing will exonerate you from that responsibility.
True, because this is your circle of influence, right?
Exactly. On a lighter note, that was an amazing answer.
Thank you very much.
an
That was a
amazing-
great question.
Let's move on to another paradox. Now, imagine you're a doctor. Very hard to imagine, but just imagine you're a doctor.
In fact, I wanted to be a doctor at some point when I was a child. So I can imagine that.
Moving from that point that you wanted to be a doctor, imagine you've become a doctor. Now, you have 3 patients. One needs a heart transplant, the second one needs a kidney transplant, and the third one needs a liver transplant. All 3 of them are in critical condition. You have a 4th patient arrive that just has a leg fracture, and by some luck, they are completely donor matched. So, if you take the heart, lungs, heart, kidneys, and liver from this person, you can save 3 people instead of just saving 1 person. As a doctor, would you do that?
Obviously not.
Why not?
Well, because
It's just 1 life that you have to let go, and you're saving 3 lives.
well, I agree. However, that's not the right thing to do, right? There should be another solution because doctors give, vow to help others, right? To help everybody in need. Well, and you're not the God to choose to take life from somebody else and give it to, for other people to live, right? I mean, I think that wouldn't be ethical to do so.
That wouldn't be ethical.
That wouldn't be ethical to do so.
And it would be entirely unethical to do this practice. But have you seen this practice being conducted very blatantly in our social circles? Like, I'll give you an example. You have a father who's the sole breadwinner of the family, and the entire responsibility of generating funds or generating income lies on him. For example, that father at one point in time passes away, and the older sibling has this entire responsibility shifted to him or her. That means that person, if it's an older brother, and that older brother has 3 or 4 younger siblings, he has to take care of everything for those, even though they are adults. Haven't you seen that in our social circle? And how would you rate that? Isn't that unethical as well?
I've seen that indeed, and I think this is more linked to the cultural aspect rather than just ethics. So it's very difficult to define whether it's ethical or no, because it might be ethical for people that come from, let's say, Asian background or Caucasian background, because this is what the culture demands or requires, because the values are little different from the values of people that were born, let's say, in Europe or US or, things like that. So that's why it's very difficult to define whether it's ethical or not ethical.
But I think I'm very clear on this, because the reason I'm saying it's unethical, because that one person also has dreams, aspirations, likes, dislikes, certain things that they want to achieve, but they sacrifice everything in their life.
I think it should come down to the choice of that person. So if that person decides that he wants to do that, it's absolutely his choice. But if he is imposed this responsibility upon, and if he has to give up his, let's say,
His goals, his
dreams,
aspirations,
goals,
dreams.
aspirations, and stuff like that, then I think this can be deemed as not very ethical towards that particular sibling or, son or daughter or like human being person.
And how would you recommend we as a family member, if you see something like that happening in a social environment, how do you think we should act, and how do you think we should interject in situations like this?
I think the most important thing is to have a conversation. So unfortunately, in many cultures, there is no conversation between siblings or parents and their kids. The father decided he is the ultimate authority in the family, and things go on from there, right, onwards. So there should be a conversation. How many times you have seen or heard or felt when you were a child where you're sitting around the table and you're having conversation, like your parents having conversation, and then they say, "Oh, shut up, you don't know anything." It's a adults conversation. Just we will invite you around the table later.
When you're not a part of the adults table yet.
Correct. I have personally felt that several times where you're thinking that you know enough and you just want to have one tiny comment just to express your opinion, and it's being suppressed. And that's not because somebody is good or bad or ethical or unethical, because this is how the cultural environment is. So what I think the essential part is to tackle the aspect of the family, I wouldn't say issues, but moments like that, is to have a conversation, to have the conversation within the family, to hear out each family member, to allow kids to express their opinions and their thoughts, for the kids to hear the parents.
And I think whatever decisions you take as a family should be collective, and all siblings and everyone within that family structure should take part in that decision making. It should not be left to one person that, okay, you have to toil, you have to work, you are now supposed to take care of the entire family's financial needs, and the rest of the family members are just going to enjoy because they are younger siblings. So I think those younger siblings, if they are also adults, I've seen this in the social circles, they have to take that responsibility, feel that responsibility, and pitch in wherever they can.
That's true. Completely agree. But that should come from that particular
from that fabric
family.
of society.
Yeah, of course.
So we need to have something to be taken care of as the fabric of the society to that grassroots level. We have to talk about the values and the systems at that level, and then start inculcating these things, right?
Completely agree.
Moving to another scenario. Again, you're a doctor. I don't know what happened. I just wrote all those points, and in most of the scenarios, you appear to be a doctor. So good luck with that. So out of the blue, one day you were experimenting and you discovered an immortality pill. If anyone takes that pill, they would not die, and they would be reverted back to the age of 25. Right?
Great.
Great. You're
Yes,
picturing
I'm
that?
just picturing it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like
for you, it's like
already excited.
not that. So imagine you have 4 options. You can either just take the pill on your own and not tell anybody. The second option is you can just share it with your friends and family. The third option is you can share it with the entire world and everybody would then benefit from it. Or the fourth option, you say this world is not ready for an invention of that level, and the implications it will have are too severe, and you just destroy that invention. What would you do and why?
So let me ask you a counter question. Which option do you think would be most ethical?
I would say go for the fourth option.
Why?
Yes. The first option, if I just take it for myself and I'm not sharing it with anybody, then I am a dictator. I do not care about anyone else in this world. If I just share it with my friends and family, then it's nepotism. Like, I'm not sharing it with the entire world, and it's nepotism. If I share it with the entire world, the social order and the cause and effect philosophy, like, there are repercussions and there are things that whatever we do, there are repercussions in life for our actions. If everybody reverts to 25 years of age and there's nobody who's dying, then those repercussions are going to make an unstable society.
True, but then you are taking the call for
On
the
my
whole
own.
world, right?
Yes.
Do you think that would be ethical?
I think that will be the most ethical thing to do. Because if I propose it out there for the whole world to take a note on it and take a decision on it collectively, we'll never reach a conclusion. Do you think if I broadcast one day, I go on CNN or go on any big network and say I've discovered this and I would like to call an opinion of people whether what should I do? What do you think will happen?
I think you will have a lot of subscribers.
I think our subscriber base will be in billions, right?
Yeah.
Around 7.5 to 8 billion. That's the world population right now. But do you think the world is ready for something like that?
I think the world has
What would you
completely
do?
different, a completely different agenda, I think. So everything is designed the way people are born, people die. The whole marketing is designed based on that. So to answer your question, no, probably the world is not ready for that. But what I would do, I would
Take it
I
yourself.
would disclose it. No, I wouldn't take it myself because what is the fun, right? So I would probably disclose that to the world and see what's going to happen.
Well, that's the reason why, Yana, you're not a doctor. So that's the reason you're not a doctor. Okay. But you'll disclose it to the world and
I
let's see
guess,
what
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, because I think anything that you find that can be beneficial for others,
Humanity.
you should share that, right? You shouldn't keep it because at the end of the day, your perception about certain situation is only your perception. The other people may look at it differently. And something that you think and you judge from your perspective is not going to be beneficial and the world is not ready. There are certain things that we do not know. Our knowledge is also limited, right? So we just know what we know.
We have to go with that. So good answer again. I'm
Thank you.
I'm
You
now
can take a
inclined to
note of
call you a
that.
doctor. I'll make a note of that. I've already taken a mental note of that, and then we'll see from where it goes. Moving on to another ethical dilemma. What can you give that you own to a loved one? Let me elaborate it a bit further. Imagine you have a love of your life, and that person asks you one day, "What can you give me?" What's the maximum thing that you can give them?
So I assume that
What's the most
person.
valuable thing that you possess?
I hope that person would never ask me what you can give me because I wouldn't want to be with a person who is the receiver only, right? So,
Okay, this is like, no, we're not doing your life
But-
right now.
but see,
It's an imaginary situation.
I understand. I mean, you can only give whatever is under your control.
What about your
that's,
life?
And that's not in your control. Your life is not in your control. Okay, you can devote your life to something, to the cause, to the person, but why? Maybe they don't need it. First, you need to identify what do they need, right?
What's the maximum, most valuable thing is your life, but that is not under your own control.
It's not under your
and
control.
that's a sacred thing that has been given to you by a higher power, your life.
Correct.
So you have to do something positive, not to start giving it to people. Otherwise, you'll have a very short life. The
Correct.
second thing, what about the money that you have?
Money is also very uncertain. It comes and goes, which is not also under your control. It's under your control to some extent, but you cannot give all the money in the world. You don't have them anyways. So,
And the money, fame, power, whatever you possess is not your own, has been given to you for a certain purpose and a
Correct.
certain reason. So that's not for you to
decide.
unilaterally decide without your core inner circle to give to some one person. What about your time, your energy, and the experiences that you have in life and the knowledge base that you possess?
I think the time is also quite limited to the extent
And we don't know how much time we have.
do not know how much time we have. You're right. But whatever we have and whatever is under our control, that time is the most valuable thing one can give, because you can never get it back, number one, right? And the second is knowledge. Yeah, knowledge is something that you can share with people, and that's the only thing that is under your control, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
So the maximum that you can give is knowledge and the time, which is under your control.
Now, move away from the doctor theory. You're no more a doctor, because the last decisions you took as a doctor were not very good. I'm not very happy with those decisions, so I'm removing you from the post of a doctor. There was a very important social study that was conducted in 1967, and that was the trolley dilemma. So let's go through it and see where you stand on it.
Tell me
Imagine
more.
yourself that you are the driver of a trolley going on a track at a very high speed, and you're going on a track. You see 5 workers sitting there, and they unilaterally decided that we're going to take a break, a lunch break, and eat while on that track. They're not ready to move. You cannot apply brakes. The only thing you can do is
Jump out of the train.
If you jump out of the train, then you die, because so in order for you to save them, you can detrack. There is another side track, and there's one person working over there with a jackhammer. So that person is not aware that you can come on that track. These 5 people have decided that they're going to just sit there, enjoy their lunch, and leave it up to you to do whatever you want. What will you do? And why?
It's a very interesting question. It's quite difficult. So I would probably answer that I would, if that's the only one decision I need to take, that would jump out of the train. Right? But that would not be right.
If you jump out of the
Because
train,
then you technically remove yourself
from the decision-making process.
Decision-making process, true. So then you go towards the one person.
So you're going to take that life of that one person
No, I'm just
and save
discussing, right?
those 5 people, right?
Yeah, so that person is working, right?
They have their earmuffs on, they're working with jackhammer, they would never be able to hear you, and you're certainly going to kill them.
So they're on the duty,
Okay.
correct? The other people, there are 5 of them, you said, right? They're having lunch. So
On the track. God
On
knows
the
why.
on the track. So technically, so I probably would not, I would not want to take a call on this, to be honest, because you cannot take,
Okay.
you cannot decide
I'll
that.
take
It's very difficult.
Okay. I'll give you the results of this experiment. 98% of the people said that we are going to take the side track, kill that one person, and save those 5. 98% of the people say that. That's the most logical thing to do. But here's where the twist comes. The decision to change the track and kill that one person is yours. Those 5 people, seeing that the trolley is coming, is still decided to sit on the track
True.
and have their lunch. So technically,
It's their choice.
if they died, they made their choice. Wherein in this case, if you change the track and kill that one person, that decision of taking that life was yours.
I agree with you, but still, it's very difficult when you're in that situation and you're given the task to decide. That's not what you will think of, right? You have like a very short period of time.
So that's
to decide.
how.
But I totally agree with you.
But
That's why.
how a lot of people who are in the armed forces, who are in the police, who are in paramilitary, are trained to take these calls, because at one point in time, they might have to take these calls.
True.
So let me add a twist. That one person that you're going to hit is the person that you love most in this world.
So yeah, if it's your family member,
It's a family member.
then definitely you
I
will.
don't know, like,
Yeah.
maybe a family member. So what will you do in that case?
I mean, the answer has followed, right? So if these 5 people decided to have lunch on the track, it's their choice. So definitely, you're not gonna, you're gonna do everything to save that one person.
So even
right?
if the 5 people are 15, 20, 500, 5,000, you're still going to go on this track in order to save that one person.
True, because that's your family member, right?
Now imagine you'll do everything in your power to save that one person and do whatever you have to do in order to save him. Imagine if you apply the same principles towards the goals in your life. You have a set goal in your life. How many of us actually work tirelessly, focused, with utmost efforts to achieve our goals, to go and save our goals, save the ambitions, save that task that we are supposed to do, and with that much focus that we are willing to forego anything else?
Very few, because people keep forgetting why they're doing whatever they are doing. People don't ask themselves questions.
So that's what I say, that there are only 2 types of people in this world. Number 1, who were focused, and the second type of people are those who got distracted at any period of time during their life.
So it's very important to be focused.
Very important to be focused. So the reason I'm saying, how focused are we on our goals? People say, I want, for example, a Ferrari. They're watching Netflix. I'm not against Netflix, but if you're sitting 5 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours on Netflix and you see a beautiful Ferrari and say, okay, I would also like to have a Ferrari, but what are you willing to do for it? How focused are you in achieving that goal? You say, I want to live in a mansion. Everything boils down to the time, energy, and efforts you put in your goals to achieve your goals. In this case, we did whatever we had to do in order to save that one person. What about if that person is replaced by the goal in your life? What other distractions? A comfortable living, I don't have to work that hard, I don't have to put in those many hours, I don't have to struggle and toil, I don't have to be that much focused. All other distractions I'm letting go. Those 5 people or 500 people or 5,000 people are the 5,000 distractions that I have in my life
Towards your goal.
that are going to keep me distracted from my goal. So what am I willing to sacrifice to achieve my goal is the main point. And if we are that focused that yes, come hell or high water, I'm going to be so much focused on my goal that I have to achieve this. And whatever sacrifice I have to make, I will do that. Ultimately, it will boil down to your time that you give to that thing.
That's a good example.
Okay. What's your stance on the power of AI in our lives?
It's an interesting new subject, which is very uncertain. The power of AI is there for sure, and I think we underestimate the power of AI. Since it's not yet everywhere, it's not as accessible for everybody. We are underestimating what is the power of AI.
And what do you think is the responsibility that comes with launching the AI tool?
The first is the ethical aspect of that. You know, in banking, a lot of organizations are using AI tools for algorithm trading, etc., etc. There were a lot of researches conducted in the industry of wealth management. The algorithm trading, the robot trading is active and up and running now. Everything that is done is technical. AI cannot do one thing, make a decision. So as long as we will keep the decision making or freedom of choice right, and as long as we keep it with people, with human beings, I think we are good to go with AI. The most important thing in AI development and making it accessible to other people and to the whole world is ethical aspect. It should be controlled. That aspect should be controlled by humanity, I think. Otherwise, we will lose control and we will go into this fantastic movies that we have seen like a few years ago.
The reason I asked this question, I'll share something very interesting with you. In 2016, Microsoft launched a chatbot. And they said that we're launching this chatbot. Everybody can interact with it and it will grow with the kind of information it receives from people. And then it will give its opinions and it will form its opinions and verdicts and things. And it will keep on growing and keep on accumulating knowledge. You know how much time did it take them to take it down? 16 hours.
To disconnect it.
Disconnect.
Why did they disconnect it?
Because within those 16 hours, people taught this AI tool all the abuses that you can find in this world. It had one of the most racially profiled observations and points. Like, for example, you say Hitler. How's Hitler? The chatbot will reply to you, Hitler is an amazing person. It had very, very weird views about the genocides, about the ethnicities, about all these things, the moral challenges that we face. It had very weird responses to that. It had very absurd responses to that. Why? Because that is the information it received from the people that were interacting with it. So Microsoft decided within 16 hours to take that chatbot down. That is social media trolling for you. We see a lot of trolling being done right now. Imagine that if everything like that trolling that is being done right now is picked up by the artificial intelligence, and artificial starts forming their opinions and their values based on those trolls that you see. What will happen?
I think going back to the example that you have given, I think the main thing that defines and differentiates AI from the human being is lack of morals, ethics, and values. That's why artificial intelligence has such a different view on certain things from the things that we are, from the humans, because it only analyzes the data without emotional aspect, without moral aspect, without ethical aspect. It just makes a rational decision based on just problem solving of the data that it receives.
So data and information, it can have data, it can convert it into an information, but AI, in my opinion, would never be able to compete with natural stupidity. When do you think when are we going to draw a line that this is going to be done by AI and this is going to be done by humans? Because the learning speed of AI and the way the human beings are interacting with it is phenomenal. And it's going to reach a scary level where you would get an answer from AI that is going to call shots in a lot of aspects of your life.
Well, I think it all depends on how lazy humanity becomes. If
No, we are aware of it.
yeah,
We are
so
very much aware
it's
of it.
if you empower the artificial intelligence with all the resources to make a decision for you, that's where we lose the control. That's where it actually becomes uncontrollable. To have information data to replace a certain jobs, to replace certain workforce, it's all progress, technological progress, part of it, right? So, but the moment we empower this particular item, which is artificial intelligence, to make decisions, the moment it learns to make decisions, that's where we're going to lose it.
But I think also there's a very important factor. The development of AI comes with a lot of moral and social responsibility.
True.
Now, the initial development, the people who do that, they have to be, I mean, it's very high-headed to say that they have to be morally very correct and ethically very strong, but they need to be. But whose moral values do we follow with those people? Like, for example, if I'm in charge of developing the base foundation for an AI tool, then whatever ethical values and moral values that I have, I will inculcate in that machine to start with, and that will be the basic building block of a human being and an artificial intelligence as well. Both. I, for example, if I'm a parent, I will impart certain ethical and moral values to the next generation that I have, human generation. And then later on, they will learn from their surrounding and they will improve upon that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I agree with you. So it's a collective thing.
It's a collective thing. And we as the society will have to take responsibility, because if we do not, if there's garbage in, there will be garbage out. And at that amplified level at which that will come out, we may or may not be able to control it and will be severely impacted by it.
100%.
So now coming back to your field of expertise, how do you see AI developing there, progressing? Till what level will it start taking decisions? And will it actually replace people at certain point in time, or will there be still certain elements of that decision-making process that will be relied on human beings?
I think AI is a very powerful tool in terms of the analytics, reducing of the workload. Many things that are being done now, which are time consuming, can be done by AI tool very fast, in the matter of seconds or minutes. If it takes me as a professional to analyze a portfolio statement, and it can take me, let's say, an hour, yeah, depends on the size of the portfolio. AI tool can do it really quick. But what I noticed, it only gives you the information based on whatever the data it receives. It does not take into consideration your future goal. What is your risk profile? What is your intention? You only know what is your intention, or you know the intention of the client, let's say. So the information that it gives you and how it can be helpful is in analytics. It's an amazing tool for reducing the time spent on anything related to analysis.
So you're saying that right now the data analytics that are taking, for example, 2 hours would be done within few seconds by AI, right?
Correct.
But at this point in time right now, for example, if I have an investor with me and that investor would rely on that data, but the only thing that the AI tool right now might not have access to is the risk-taking appetite of that investor. What if the behavioral pattern of risk taking of that particular individual is also absorbed by AI, and the AI starts responding to that person based on his or her risk taking appetite? What will happen then?
It's actually interesting thing. So see, risk taking or risk profile, let's call it, is subject to change. It's never constant thing. There is a behavioral pattern indeed. So you can have you can take risky decisions today because you have a lot of cash and you don't know what to do with that, right? Tomorrow you will be in the situation that, oh, I'm conservative. I don't want to take risky calls. And if the AI is basing their, judgment,
Not only on that, the AI is first giving you that data analysis,
true.
that this is a high risk or a low risk and medium risk, and knowing on the behavioral pattern of that particular individual, it will start making recommendations that we right now as humans do. What we do, we have two things. We have the data, we process that data into information. That information is being analyzed and decoded by a senior person like you, and then shared with the person who's your investor, that listen, this is the data, these are the trends, this is what I've analyzed. Based on the person that you are, I would recommend this. That's what happens.
Yeah, but you take into consideration the risk appetite of the individual, at that particular moment, which can change.
Which can change, but AI is going to start working in real time at that time. So real time analysis and real time behavioral changes of that human being will be noted and understood and applied into the algorithms.
Of course it's possible. And it's going towards that direction. It's going towards that direction.
Do you think that would be better for the investors, or do you think that will be a more scary situation to face?
No, I think it's going to be better for the investors because it gives you an opportunity to have better decisions, to make better decisions, more informative decisions. Because now some of the information is missing. Human beings, even this doesn't matter how big your experience is, how knowledgeable you are, you still can miss out on certain things. You cannot know what's happening in Africa on a daily basis, right? You're going to consider some African investments, but you don't know the background of certain aspects, right? But AI can pull that data, analyze it for you, and let's say put it across in front of you as a risk matrix that you can make a decision. So I think it's a great tool to use, and it will be very helpful for many professionals.
Good. So last two things we will do, and then we'll do three things and we'll wrap it up, right? You will like to do the parallel line thing?
We can do that, but in which scenario?
See, I'll give you, now it's time for me to give you an example. You have two parallel lines and you have to make one line bigger, and you have two options. You can make one line bigger than the other, or you can shorten one line. Which option would you choose and why? It's very simple.
You will give me this example.
You can give me, for a change, you can give me this example, and then you can analyze it. You will do the analysis of this based on my answer.
Okay. So Asim, let me ask you a question that I always ask. Not always, but I generally ask people that
you meet?
me. Sorry?
That you meet?
Not that I meet just, for the first time, but to know them better. Let's assume you have two parallel equal lines, line A and line B.
Okay.
They're exactly the same. You can write them and draw them down, on the piece of paper. They are exactly equal, exactly the same. It's just one is called A, another one is called B. And your task is to make one of them longer. And there are two ways to do that. What would you do?
What are the two ways? What are the two options that I have?
So, one, I'm not supposed to tell you, actually.
Okay. So just say what will
I'm
you
not
do?
supposed.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
just say what will you do?
would you do? Your task is to make one of them longer. Let's say line A.
So if I have to make line A bigger, logically speaking, I have two choices. The first choice is I can actually draw and make line A bigger. And the option B would be to make line B shorter in order so that line A becomes bigger.
What would you do?
I would choose to make line A bigger.
And why?
Because I think that effort that you do, and this is a positive thing to actually help in creating more, make it longer. It's a better approach towards doing anything in life.
I'm glad you answered this way because majority of people that I meet, they do answer the same way you did. And I'm very lucky to meet people like yourself because that means that people that make this choice are highly ethical in whatever they do, in their professional life, in their personal life, overall as human beings. People that choose to cut the line B shorter in order for the line A to stay longer are the people that are used to shortcuts and cutting corners of other people or other, participants of scenarios in order for them to look better, which is highly unethical. I came across few cases like that in my life, especially in professional career. And funny enough, this particular test exactly resembles the nature of a person. So this example allows us to see or test people around us. Unfortunately, some people still decide to cut somebody else's I would say efforts.
Because line A and line B made the same amount of effort.
True.
And they reached from one start to the end. Now, in order for you to do anything, in order to make a change, the change should always be towards the betterment. The change should always be positive. In order to make something longer,
you need to put an effort.
You need to put an effort. You have to draw,
True.
Make it longer. You're contributing towards something. And if you're just reducing the line, you're not contributing.
You're not growing. You're right.
And
you're not growing.
That's why a lot of senior management, when they hire somebody, they take them out for dinner. And they would like to sit and see the behavior of that person, how ethical, how responsible that person is during the dinner time, how he interacts with people, how he interacts with the service staff. So there are solid reasoning behind taking a step. So, one last question.
Last but not the least.
Not the least. We will have it. We'll have it, and now we'll definitely, because these are such amazing topics to discuss and subjects and thought process and paradoxes that I think we need to continue this in another episode. But I don't want to have this episode too long, so we'll culminate with one final paradox. Very important. You have the angel of death comes one day, God forbid, tells you, one day it will come, definitely, and tells you that you have only 24 hours to live.
Not if I found the immortal pill and took it.
Yeah, that we destroyed. Remember, because we removed you as a doctor. Nobody wanted to see you as a doctor. We removed her as a doctor. I was the doctor, and I took a stance of not sharing it with the world. So deal with it.
Okay.
It's my invention, deal with it. Now, coming back to this side, you have only 24 hours to live. What will you do in those 24 hours? Whatever good deeds you do are not counted. Whatever bad deeds would you do in those 24 hours would not be counted. How would you spend those 24 hours?
I'll spend it with my family
And friends and circle.
and friends and circle, but at first the family.
Family.
Yeah, of course.
Why not at work?
Because that's not what, I would enjoy last 24 hours of my life, right? Because this is the place where we give our 8 hours a day. And
8 hours?
8 hours.
We did a train trolley. Seriously, we just did the train trolley. You have to be focused. Why you just think working on 8 hours you'll be focused? Guys, listen to me. Work 14, 15 hours on, or at least 16 hours on your goal. And then that is going to take you and other places.
No, actually, you can work 1 hour also a day. It all depends on the input. Input is, not equals output, but, contributes to output.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the work, probably no, I wouldn't spend it. Work definitely. Not probably, but
So your
definitely
first,
no.
why not completing that series on Netflix that you were halfway through and finding out?
Because that's not a priority, and it's not going to be a priority, right?
But you would like to know what happens at the end. Why wouldn't you spend time there and finding out?
Where? In the Netflix.
And yeah, you were watching a very interesting series. You were the second last episode. You need to understand what happens in the end, and that's bugging
How does
you.
that contribute to my 24 hours? I would ask myself, how does that contribute to my 24 hours? And what is ethical thing to do as well, right?
Ethical, moral, and socially correct thing to do is to spend that time, the quality time,
Quality time. Exactly. Quality
with
time.
your family. So my last question is, why don't we do it every day?
Because unfortunately, we are so clinging to this rat race that we are in that we keep forgetting what are the most important things in life.
And that we need to do every day is to treat and give that quality time to our family and the loved ones, because that is of
100%.
paramount importance.
100%.
With this, Yana, thank you for allowing me to rack your brain on this, to pick your thoughts. It was an extremely enlightening session. I wish to have these more. Whenever your brain cools down and you're ready to come back again. And next time, I would like the tables to be turned and you give me all those morally challenging paradoxes and questions and dilemmas. And let's work together in contributing towards the society.
Thank you very much for having me. It was indeed enlightenment. I look forward to more sessions of sharing knowledge, sharing experience.
And with this, we come to the end of a very, very unusual episode of the Brick Buzz. Trust me, next week we'll return with our normal real estate thingies. Keep watching this place. Thank you very much.